Okay, go ahead and introduce them, Freedom Soldier.
Thank you. Well, I mentioned, in the past, just a couple times here and there that I had a friend or contact that was over in Zurich with just, some of the information that I was allowed to share. So he has graciously and willingly accepted a chance to actually come talk to everybody about the QFS. So he's going to say a little bit just briefly about himself and whatnot. But then I guess we have a bunch of questions that have been forwarded to Sabrina, and he's going to do a basic, brief overview of the QFS, and then we'll answer some questions. So, without further ado, here he is.
His name
is Marcelo.
Hi, everybody. Um, well, thank you, Tamara and Sabrina, for the introduction. Yes, indeed, I've been doing this business for the last 12 years. I have the opportunity to be doing it from Zurich in Switzerland. So I know a little bit about the details about business in general, and also the QFS I have or I had for 2 weeks training on the main ways to use or how to understand the QFS, which is something completely new for everybody. And so what I want to do now is I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. So I don't know if Sabrina or Tamara, whoever be in charge to make the questions, or tell me what's the question, and I'll be answering the questions accordingly.
I got one question from someone regarding the process of redemption. But what I wanted to have you touch on is how the QFS is actually different here than it is in Europe, and why the US had to do something differently.
Absolutely. So for those that doesn't know what the QFS is pretty simple. It's an abbreviation of Quantum Financial System. In other words, the new financial system is going to be, I'm going to use as an example. Let's say it's in the cloud, and the amount of money or the money is going to be in that cloud. We're going to have tokens. From those tokens, we're going to be able to download money into our company accounts or personal accounts, and the tokens are going to have a different value, depends on the money we have in it. And it's pretty simple, but as far as the redemption is how it's going to work. And if people are expecting that just going to be transfer normal money or cash into the account, that's not how it's going to work, because then wouldn't be need for the QFS. We can still use the fiat currency that we're using at the moment. So the whole point for the QFS to exist is that way no country will have the power over any other country to manipulate the markets, which is the example of what happened with the United States. Meaning, when they took us from the gold standard, um, they make the petrodollar. So anyone that wants to do any transaction, international transaction, how it work is you need to, in the market, buy dollars and then exchange it for the currency you're paying into. So everyone in the world was forcing to buy dollars. That's why they gave America so much power and so much money. Unfortunately, that wealth wasn't distributed accordingly to the citizens, was only for certain individuals to have the power. So the QFS is going to avoid this problem, right? Every nation is going to be rich, not only the United States, but now the way it is going to be rich is based on how much gold and silver and other metals, or even oil, is going to be backing up that currency. I don't know if I answered the question, Sabrina.
Now, why did the United States have to pause and create something to interact with it?
Right. So the QFS is a global standard, right? But it happens the United States don't want to lose the power they have. So 2 3 weeks ago, they tested the QFS and they discovered the America didn't have enough gold to back it up. So pretty much America was going to be in default completely and bankrupt. So that would create a huge problem for the country. Uh, that pretty much you wouldn't be able to buy nothing because your money would be worse than Venezuela. That would cost nothing. So they stopped it and they did it again. So the reason they did it again is because we have a general QFS worldwide, but the United States wants to be in a way unique, and I understand. They create it's the same thing, but it's this QFS is only for United States. I don't know if I can explain it properly, but let's say United States have their own QFS that also work with the global QFS, but it's limited. This QFS for the states is limited for the country. You can do transaction to other countries, fine, but it's a way to protect the states as far as their wealth and their funds and the money they have in the country. So it wouldn't be all the money that is owned by the United States in the cloud. So they want to have their own independence, which I understand that. That's the meaning of sovereign country. So that's the reason why this was delayed for the last 2 3 weeks. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking right now. We would be celebrating with money. But in a way, it was good that they did it. Otherwise, if they would just let it run, you guys would have a lot of problem right now. You wouldn't be able to afford to buy nothing. That's the reason the QFS, global QFS, and the American QFS. It's the same thing, but the American side is able to protect themselves, and for that reason as well. And we don't gonna deny that America have been a superpower, an empire for I don't know for the last 100 years. Uh, the other countries cannot let the United States go bankrupt completely because the other nations. I mean, we depend on each other, and even as much as we can see the political views on the news. Uh, all the other big nations depend on the United States for many things, for many supplies, and you cannot let this country go down because then everybody would be paying the price for it. So what happened is they rescue United States, in other words, to not go in default and bankrupt. So in that way, America have now the way to become again powerful. It's not going to be as powerful as before because now the power is divided into all the nations that signed this agreement. But nevertheless, they're going to still be extremely powerful, and that's the reason why it's two. I mean, it's not like it's two QFS, but in a way it is, but it's not. They work together in the same one, but they have more privacy controlling the QFS in the nation.
Okay, and the next question with that is the tokens that have to be purchased that you mentioned. What type of token is that, or is that each country has their own token?
No, you don't have to purchase the tokens. The tokens will be given to you when you get paid on the redemption. Let's say that just an example. Please don't take this literally. Let's say you have 100 notes of Iraqi dinar, and you're gonna get for those Iraqi dinar, you're gonna get 20 million. It's just an example. So they're not gonna give you straight away 20 million cash because then you will be using the same fiat currency that is in existence that is completely useless worldwide. I'm not talking only about the US dollar, I'm talking about every other currency worldwide, fiat money. So it doesn't have any value. So the tokens, they're going to give it to you as a payment of whatever you exchange in the RV. So let's say you get those 20 million. So you get those tokens on the value of 20 million. So how is going to be, what's the value of the token? Well, that's going to be, each one of you have to be talking to the banker that when you go to the appointment, and then you're going to decide how much you want per token, or they want to tell you, okay, these tokens are this value, and then those tokens are going to be downloaded into your personal account or company account, corporate account, non-profit companies account. And when you download those tokens, then it will be converted into the new currency that we all going to have, not only in the US, but all over the world. We're going to have new currency that's going to be gold back.
Wonderful. Next question was, we heard that the quantum financial system opens the way for the quantum internet and the quantum voting. How are and if are those all tied together?
Well, they are, and I mean the quantum internet, yes, of course, is linked to the quantum financial system. Any other form of quantum is not going to be linked to the financial system. So every entity work independently, even if they are linked somehow, but there's no interference one with the other one. For saying an example, the federal government doesn't disrupt anything that happen in the local government per counties or per state or per whatever you divide it. I mean, they're working together, but not really. The internet, yes, of course. Without the quantum internet, we don't have quantum financial system. As far as the other ones, they're linked as far as being quantum, but it's not linked to each other. They all work separate, even if it's in the quantum.
Thank you. The next one was, you went through 2 weeks of training, 8 hours a day. What did they teach you in that?
Well, the basic was like they tried to explain it was the quantum financial system, and was where it was created. It's a mixed up of different countries and different really smart people creating these super servers. Uh, One of them was IBM, because they have the history of being the servers for many generations. And the servers are now distributed all over the world. They're not just in one place. So once we have a little brief history about it, and obviously quantum physics, whoever understand that is not an easy topic. You have to be some kind of like a mathematician to understand exactly how it works. And at some point, that's completely relevant for us, because um, it's nothing we can do as far as knowing exactly how the system works, how the numbers work, where the servers are at. That's nothing we can do. Like even now, we go to any bank, yeah, we know we can put money in the bank, we can get a loan, we can get our own money, but the actual finance world, not too many people understand it or know how it works. But anyway, after we have that brief introduction, they start explaining us, okay, in my case was a little bit different, because I'm not 100% dealing with only with currency. I'm dealing with bonds. So it is linked, but the bonds are getting paid first. So depends on the amount of bonds you have. That depends on the money you're gonna have. The disclosure of how you use the money. How can you use the money? What are the payments? And obviously, they explain all about the tokens, and everybody have when you go to the redemption center, they will open a bank account for you. That's the first thing. Second thing is depends on the amount of money you're gonna have. You're gonna have help, but it depends on the amount of money you're gonna have a wealth management person with you. They're gonna guide you through the whole process of how to download the money to your accounts, um, to whom you can send money, to what kind of business you can invest, what kind of people you can all send money, uh, what kind of business you cannot invest anything into it. What is the personal use that you can or how much money can you use per day in a personal need. Um, I mean, there is a huge range of different way to spend the money and not to spend the money. And obviously, um, they teach us how to. It's easier for us, and it's better not to have, even if you have the account in the QFS. When you download the money, not to have it into a personal account, but better to have into a company account or corporate account, whatever you call it, because then it's not too much paperwork because it's your own account from the QFS coming down to your own account. So if it comes into your personal account, it's still the bank gonna be looking as a even they're all linked. You cannot stop. Uh, some people in the bank try to be smart and try to stop the money because um, you cannot prove where the money comes from. Even if you can prove it, they can probably just stop it for a day or two. To avoid all this problem is QFS in your account in QFS to your company account, and that's the easiest way. And then you can use all the money through your company. You can have a personal account as well, but once you download the money into the from the QFS, you can have a personal account that you can transfer your money there to make pay your bills, to pay your vacations, to pay for your car. You can pay your own salary. I mean, that's different, but again, it's only uh, it changes on every person on the amount of money they make it. So it's not going to be the same for a person that's making, let's say, a million to a person that's making 20 billion. It's completely different. The payments are different. The restrictions are different, and the way you gonna need or use the money are completely different. And after that alone, it took us nearly 5 days because it's a list is long list of where you cannot put money, because you put money into that, your money will be confiscated and you're never gonna see it back. And obviously, you have to sign an NDA, and your NDA, you can put some people into your NDA that you can be telling things over the phone. Obviously, not personal things. You can talk about, let's say, um what I'm doing right now with you. My NDA is only signed tomorrow, so I'm allowed to talk today. So after tomorrow, I'll be able to talk, but just the minimum. I won't be able to give you more details that I'm giving you right now. And when you sign an NDA, even if it's your own family, you cannot be talking over the phone. The phone call will be recorded. Everything you do on social media will be recorded. Doesn't matter if it's Instagram or Telegram or Facebook or WhatsApp. It doesn't matter. Whatever is social media, once you sign an NDA, it will be recorded. So if you say something that you shouldn't be saying, you have to be careful, because um, these people are just literally looking for an excuse to say, "Oh, he said something wrong," and that's it. You can talk obviously with your family or with your friends in person, but not over the phone or texting quantities or amounts you're getting or what you're going to do with the money. That's not nobody's business, and we already know. I mean, we've been whatever we say, even when you're not making a phone call, they can listen to what we're talking. You know, so this is why that's the only problem. The only problem that makes it so difficult to not to say something that you shouldn't be saying now. Again, if you're talking to people that's in your NDA or just like your lawyers or your attorneys or whoever represents you, that's a different story because they are part of your legal team. So that's fine. But you cannot be calling your neighbor or your uncle and say, "Oh, you see, remember I told you I was going to do something. Now I did it, and I'm a millionaire." You cannot be doing that. You know, I know it sounds silly and maybe it doesn't make any sense, but it makes a lot of sense. So the reason to have the money is not just to be bragging about it. That's what it have taken so long. I don't know how many of you are or how long you've been into this process, but as far as me, I've been doing it for 12 years and I have learned a lot. And this is one of the parts that you learn that a lot of people that started with me, they're no longer around. They just give up. They never believe it. Now, when they see the reality, well, it's too late. So they try to tell us exactly what the intention of the money is not just to go ahead and buy a new mansion, a new Ferrari, or a new airplane. Yeah, you can buy that. Of course, you can. But the intention is to do good with the money. I mean, I don't mean it to be giving all the money to charity or nothing like that, but they want the money to actually to get to work and doing something, create business, create employment, create housing, everything that help uh, humanity. It doesn't matter in what country. If you want to do it on the United States, that's fantastic. There's a lot of people that need a lot of help there too, and you can create employment, even if it's 10, 5, 100, it doesn't matter. But the purpose of the money is to actually help, not to give money for free. Watch out, because there's this big difference to donate money and to do humanitarian things. Right? Humanitarian doesn't mean just give money away, because then you're gonna end up broke pretty soon again. Because once you give people money for free, they're gonna keep coming back. So because they know there's money there all the time. But if you instead of just giving it for free, you are in a possibility to create an employment for them, or a job, a steady job for them. Is easier. You are creating uh, a circular economy, even if it's just around where you live, or in your state, or your town, or your county. That's the way they centralize this kind of schooling they give us for 2 weeks. So that's one of the main things, and well, the basics on how to use the money, how what is the price for every token. Like I said, um, in my case, I can have tokens that are worth 500,000 up to 100 million. So that depends on, as well, depends on how much money you make. You can order and say, okay, I want to transfer 100 million to, let's say, to Sabrina, because she have a big company and I'm gonna buy part of the company and I'm gonna invest in her company. It's just an example. So for me, it's easier with that token that is 100 million, straight away downloaded into my corporate account and transfer the money. No questions asked, because my money already pay uh, all the taxes. Even they say, "Oh, this is tax free." No, all this money is not tax free. But uh, what I'm trying to say, and I'm gonna give you an example again, is with bonds. Let's say I have a bond and they pay me 100 million, right? That's gonna be my uh, profit. In reality, that bond costs 900 million. So those 900 millions are distributed into all the countries, right? Those are the taxes. That's why the remaining balance that they give you is have immunity, because you're already paying 90% of the money you're getting. So the offer I'm getting, in my case, let's say I get 100 million. That's what they offer since the beginning. But I know how much money the bond is actually, the value, the real value of it. I really don't care if they're gonna take 900 million. What I care is what's left in my pocket, and it's have immunity that nobody can touch it. I don't have to pay a single tax again in it, unless obviously I make an income. That's a different story. But in those 100 million, I don't have to pay nothing, and it's not gonna be any difference uh, with the currency. Now you're gonna exchange it. You don't pay taxes on it. Fine. They're not gonna charge you taxes. But once you have that money, if you create an income based on that money, yes, you're gonna pay taxes, right? And all of these dreams that people say, oh, everything is gonna be so nice and no, nobody's gonna pay taxes ever again. No, that's not gonna happen, or at least not gonna happen straight away. Eventually, we're gonna get to that point, but at the moment, no. Many things are gonna start disappearing little by little or decreasing on as far as the taxes. But if you get compensation for whatever you're holding and you create uh, a job or employment for many people, you creating an income. So you're gonna pay the taxes based on that income, not in the main capital, but in the income you create. And regardless if at one point we're gonna pay taxes only on new items or not, that's gonna take a little bit of time. So that's why I was telling Sabrina, people need to be uh, a little bit wiser, right? This is amazing what's happening and it's gonna happen, but it's not like we just have a magic wand and say, okay, tomorrow, from tomorrow onwards, everybody get paid, nobody pay taxes. No, because then they just stabilize the countries or the nations, and then it will create chaos. So it have to be gradually going back until we reach a point that yeah, we don't want to have to pay that many taxes. And so the whole 2 weeks was uh, the disclosing what it is about, and um, part of this is the Nazara Jazara. Obviously, you know that many people laugh about it, but it's actually true. Um, the Nazara is only applies for the United States, and the Jazara applies for the rest of the world. So that's what I'm saying. The states have a privilege in a way that the rest of the world won't have. As far as the taxes, yeah, the Americans are gonna have uh, more benefits than the rest of the world since the beginning. Eventually, all gonna get to that point, but it's gonna take quite a few time. You know, it's not automatic, and and again, then they teach us how to open trust accounts. Who can we put in the trust accounts? Um, how much money we should put in the trust account? You have kids, you have a partner, you have mother and father, whatever family member you want to put into it. They recommend you not to, even if you have the trust account, not to let them know how much money is in it for security reasons, because we know people are really funny. So um, as well, uh, in the states, a long time ago, you were able to open trust accounts, but they stop it. No bank in America opened a trust account because there was a way to avoid taxes. So in America, the only thing you can open is a family trust, right? That's a different way to do it, because it's only for a family member or your spouse or your whatever, your partner, but not as a trust is in a business. So that's what I'm saying. You have to check the legalities in the states as far as the banking system. Everything is changing, and obviously I don't know everything. It's impossible. I know a lot compared with the say new people, but there is many. It's too much information at once altogether coming every day. So I have to get an update, an update, an update. You know, it's never ending. I manage most of it. We have a couple of trials, and it's not that hard. But also, you want to have the well management person there to help you out. Um, but that's pretty much what we have to learn. And like I said, every person involved into this, regardless if it's bonds or if it's currency, everyone is different. Everyone is unique. Everyone have different quantities, different kind of currency, different kind of bonds. So that's what is so hard to tell uh, how much money each one of us is making, because this is not. They make it. They made it in a way, and that's why you sign an NDA. So I cannot come tomorrow and tell you, "Oh, guys, I make 20 billions." Because if I say that to you, well, I'll be blocked. And vice versa, you cannot tell me how much you're making and also it's none of my business. But that it is created to protect each other. So the hardest part is not how to use the quantum system. The hardest part is to actually keep people not to talk, believe it or not. Because I know the excitement of, oh, I did it, I make it happen, I succeed. This is overwhelming in a way, but at the same time, it's at least in my case, I can say it's extreme happiness, and not because of the money. And believe it or not, yeah, in the beginning was all about money. Now I really don't care about the quantity. I care more about that I did it. But unfortunately, to all those people that I was going to show that I did it, 99% of those people are gone. They either don't talk to me because they think I'm completely lost my mind, or and I'm talking including everything, family, friends, they're gone. So I have no more people to brag about it and know that I want it anymore. But for those here that are new, it is really important to keep it quiet. You know, it's good for you. It's gonna be good for your family. But the less people know about it, the better. As well for security reasons and many other things. It depends where you guys wanted to live at the end. You know, and again, everybody think like, oh, this is gonna be the golden years. Everybody, the whole world is gonna be a millionaire. No, many people are don't gonna have this uh, privilege because too many people are not involved into it. Yeah, they're gonna have a privilege that now it's gonna be steady jobs and the economies and the country is gonna change, but they're never gonna be rich per se like all of you here. So once people is in too much need and they know the neighbor have a lot of money, you know what happened. I mean, that's needless to say what's happening. So that's pretty much what we learned there. Is not, again, I cannot tell you exactly what you guys gonna go through because every one of you is independent on, and it's gonna be based on what you have, what you're bringing into the RV.
So two quick questions. Would the family trust be considered a family governance plan? Number one, and number two, how long is the NDA?
Well, the NDA, we're gonna start with the NDA. The NDA it's gonna end only when you have the last payment, right? Again, I know many people say, "Oh no, with the currency you just go exchange it, and they give it to you." Like if you go and buy pounds or you go buy any other currency when you travel. Yes and no, because if you only hold, I don't know, 100 notes and you get 2 million, yeah, that's easy. They exchange it to you. But as many people, they're gonna have, I don't know, a million notes or whatever, a crazy amount or quantity of notes. That people are not gonna get 3 million only. That people can get into hundreds of millions. So the payment for that people is not gonna be all straight up. That's what you have to be really careful. And I know the people say that, oh, this is not true because it's currency. Yeah, well, it's currency, but it's not currency because it doesn't belong to your country. You're exchanging currency that is being dead. Like for saying the Iraqi dinar, after they finished the war with Iraq, they changed the dinars. So the old dinar have a different value than the new dinar. But at the end, they're gonna exchange it all. But it's not your currency. It's a foreign currency. And again, um, depends on the quantity that you have. It's gonna be the amount you're making. So it's really hard to tell um, you're gonna have all the money. And I've seen it with the bonds. I see people that have only 10 bonds and they make a little bit of money, and I have people that have a container load of bonds and they're making a crazy amount of money, and the payment will be for the next 25 years. So they get payment every month, but for 25 years. they're gonna get paid in full, but in the next 25 years, because of the amount of money, it is impossible just to pay one person, because there won't be no money in the market to pay the rest of the people. I don't know if I explain it, but that's as far as the currency. And again, I cannot speak for everyone because everyone is completely different, and only each one of you knows what you have. And that's another thing, that's the privacy, because when you go into the um, uh, Jesus,
Redemption.
sorry, the redemption center, sorry. um, you have to the person in charge of your case will pretty much dictate what's going to happen with your payment. Again, if you are lucky to get 4 or 5 million, yeah, no problem, you get it straight away. But if you happen to get 300 million, you're not going to walk out of there with 300 million cash, not in a million years, because it's not going to be enough money in the beginning. That's why they need time to keep paying and paying and paying and paying. And again, the currency uh, is not as it's not as little as we think it is in the market. It's a huge amount of currency for different countries. So that's another thing. Depends on what you have. You're gonna have a price per item that I really don't know which one it is. That's uh, that's up to the banker or the person you're going to see. They're gonna give you the rate, and all these speculations are nonsense. But you're gonna make money. So again, the NDA lasts until you have the last payment, or if you're lucky to have all the payment, but that's it. You walk away, no more NDA. Now, as far as the trust, a family trust, you can get family trust in different banks, and also if you're gonna be paid in the QFS, you can create a family trust offshores. That doesn't have to be in America if you don't want to. It works the same. It doesn't matter, because the money is gonna be in QFS, and you're gonna download um, down the token into that money in the trust, whatever you want to have it. The safest trust you can have, or whatever I can recommend, is you have to go to see a family law lawyer or attorney, and they will be able to guide you what is the easiest or the best. It depends on your location, and also depends on where you live, what state you live. They have different options. So that's that as well. That varies. It depends on your location and the amount of money you have, and the amount of family or the amount of people you want to have in the trust.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to tell you thank you for coming over here to the group. We totally appreciate you, sir. I had a couple of questions and then I'll turn it over to Dallas. I think he's got some questions for you. I do have a couple of minor children that are very awake
Mhm.
on this whole journey, whole process, and everything. Um, would they be able to set up a QFS account once we exchange our currency, me and my husband? Or would a minor not be able to have a QFS account?
No, they won't be able to do it themselves, but you can have the like right now you can open a minor's account. It will be the same thing under your custody, or the custody of the father, or in case something would have happened, and I hope not. I hope you live many years. You have to designate in your will and also in the trust who is going to manage that account for the kids. And yes, you can open an account for them. Of course, it's just going to work like a normal bank account. Let's say the QFA is going to work like a bank account on steroids. That you can do anything in a transaction will take seconds, literally seconds, to do the transaction, not days, or like if I do an international transaction right now from here to America, it can take 3 or 4 days to clear. And the reason is because the bank in those 4 or 3 days They're playing with your money, they trade your money, they make a ton of money, and then, oh, here, sir, here's your money you transfer. Thank you very much. In the meantime, they make 400% return. So the QFS is designed in a way that the banks cannot play with your money anymore. So once it goes into your account in seconds, they cannot play with the money. They cannot keep doing what they've been doing. They're literally gangsters. They're making money with your money, but they don't tell you. And yes, you can open an account for your kids.
Okay, thank you, sir. That makes total sense. So basically, that kind of follows up with my other question. For an example, I could be on my children's account, have a trust, the trust name over the account, and the kids could be on it and everything like that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Serena, do you have anything else, or you want to turn it over to Dallas?
Go ahead, Dallas, and I've got a couple of questions on the board that we'll go after, okay?
Awesome. My name is Dallas. I'm just a pleasure to be here. Thanks for sharing all this. My mind is literally exploding, so thank you. Back up just a half a step on the NDA. You said that it could take tranche. We could get paid out over years. The NDA would stay into effect possibly 10, 15, 20 years until all of our monies, if we had that much money. Is that what you're saying, or are we talking like a fixed amount of time, like 3 months or 6 months?
Yeah, well, the basic duration of the NDA for, let's say, for small holders, for small quantities, can be up to a year. So they're trying to do the most they can to pay everyone within 1 year. Unless you fall into the category of making billions or trillions, then yes, your NDA will be for the length of the payment time. Other than that, no. Just if it takes you 1 year, if it takes you 6 months, it's only for those 6 months, and that's it.
Okay, awesome. You talked about the tokens. There's been so much misinformation and disinformation, over all these years. You've been in it longer than I have. I've been in it a fair amount of time. But you have certain people that say you have to have this digital wallet. You have to have a Lobster wallet, and you have to have XRP currency or XLM or Dogecoin. Is any of that true, or is it a completely different digital system, these tokens that you're talking about?
No, it's a complete different thing, because see, the QFS is no different than the normal, like a banking system at the moment. Let's say just an example, right? So let's say you have a check from Wells Fargo, and then you need to deposit into JP Morgan. So the token is the Wells Fargo check. That's your token, and you're just gonna deposit into your account in JP Morgan, right? So the XLM and the XRP, yes, their tokens are well, but they're gonna work under your QFS. So you don't have to have a digital wallet or nothing like that, because the QFS itself is a bank account that is designated and open just for you to exchange and get these funds. So nobody else owns this account, and the only person that can close this account is you if you don't have any money. But since everything goes to QFS, that you're never going to have to close the account, right? So not only that you can download from the tokens to your account, you can actually upload money into the QFS account if you want to be secure. So nobody can see what you have in your main account. You can upload it, buy the tokens for the price that it is, and the price for the tokens will be a flat rate, because it's in the QFS is 1-to-1. So once you download it into your country, that will be the different exchange for the time being. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, no, thank you. You actually vindicated me a little bit, because I've been saying that exact same thing for over a year. In regards to the QFS, is there, because it's basically a bank account, will there be opportunities to earn interest on our money as it sits in the QFS, or will we have to move it out of the QFS and put it into some kind of either banking account or investment? platform to earn money on our money?
Right. As the QFS itself, no, you cannot earn any interest on it, because it's just, let's say, like your QFS account is, you can put it as it's your saving account per se, and from there you can download it into your personal account or your company account, and then you can work with that money. You can put it into a trade platform, or you can buy bank instruments. Yes, you can do it, but the QFS itself, you cannot generate any interest or any income for the money to be there, because then again we will go back to what is happening with all the banks. So that's what they're trying to avoid. So the
Right.
QFS is just a safe haven to have your money all the time, that nobody can touch it. Not even the government can touch it, because it's yours. It's just created for you. That's it. But that's another thing. When I signed the NDA, for example, I haven't signed it yet until tomorrow, but they're telling you whatever money you get in, or the funds you get in from this transaction, you cannot put it into trade myself. But you can have your own company, and your company can trade it. You see, there's always a way to do it legally, but you cannot earn money with the money you have already in your pocket. That's why the QFS doesn't generate any income.
Okay. That makes sense. And I probably should have prefaced it with this question first. One of the problems with our current fiat system is the fact that we're either charged interest or we accrue interest, which in the United States has been proven to be mostly illegal, because those interest rates are it's hypothecated debt and hypothecated interest. Are there going to be interest generating options for us after this transition? Will we be able to put it into a bank vehicle and get 5 or 10% interest, or are they going to do away with that entire concept?
No, once you download it into your account, regardless if it's personal or corporate account, or company account, whatever you want to call it, you have an option with the banker to put it to work, and CDs or LTNs or SBLCs. I mean, the list goes on and on with the bank instruments. Yeah, the bank always charge a fee when they create the money for you, but it's minimum, the amount of money they're making, and for once, the owners of the money are gonna make money.
Awesome. I'm serious. My brain is exploding. I'm trying to round these questions into logical questions. One of the things that we've been, kind of forewarned about is the protection of the QFS, which is awesome. If the QFS functions the way that you shared with us, and kind of some of the things I've had in my head before, is there an honest and provable reason to have outside trusts and things like that? Or is it because the QFS is solely designated to me, the individual, not necessarily my wife or my children? Is that where the trust would come in after the fact? Is that what you're saying?
Well, your money always going to be safe in the QFS, but the reason for the trust is, God forbid, something happened to you, right? And your kids and your wife don't have access to that account. They're never going to have a chance to access that money. So the reason for the trust account, or the custodial account, if you want to call it like that, for the kids, is that you can use an attorney or lawyer or someone to represent you to in the event that something would happen to you, they have access to that money, so that money won't be forever in the cloud. That's the reason. Or you can make a will as well, or a testament, whatever you want to call it, where you designate who is in charge of the money if something ever happened to you or what happened to your wife. So that's only for protection. So let's say in Europe, if you and it's happened in Mexico as well. If you die and you don't have a will, you never see the money. The government confiscate the money. So that's so important to have a will, because otherwise they confiscate the money. It doesn't matter if your kids are going to be starving for the next 20 years, they don't care. So that's why it's so important to have a trust account for your kids, and also to make a will based on a certain amount of money you're going to have there all the time steady, just in the event something goes wrong. That's the only reason. You don't have to do it, but that's the safest way to protect your family or the ones you care.
On the QFS account, will we be able to designate a beneficiary? So in the instance, my wife. Okay. So there's multiple ways for us to cover it.
Yeah, you have up to four beneficiaries in the QFS. Only the ones you designate, and let's say your kids and they're minors, they only want to have access once they turn 18 or 21, depends on the country. You can designate also. They can manage that account, but in the meantime, if something would have happened to you, they can download money automatically every month. You can set it up and say, okay, my kids need to get 2,000 each every month, so they can survive. They can buy food, they can pay the rent, everything. So they want to keep constantly doing it because that's already set up in your account. Of course, only for people, as far as I know, you probably can have more or less, depends on your needs.
And we can set that up when we go to the Redemption Center and open our QFS account.
Absolutely, and like I said, that's really private and independent, because every one of us have different needs or different family members that you need to leave the money. I mean,
right.
Some people have 10 kids, some people have only
I was
one.
Told, right. I was told by one of my contacts or my sources that we'll receive QFS phones at the Redemption specifically for the QFS and access. Is that something that's true? Have you heard anything in regards to that?
Well, I heard about it, but the funny thing is when I heard about it, all the QFS phones are actually old phones that are just being recycled, right? There's no new phones. There's no new company making the QFS phones. So, in other words, the QFS is just like a how you say it, something you download.
Is it going to be like an encrypted app?
Yeah, an
encrypted like an encrypted app
into your phone. And believe me, once you have money, you can buy your own satellite phones. Then no one can get into it, so your information is 100% safe and nobody have access to it. But I'm not saying it's not going to happen. But at the moment, this is the part that I get so disappointed, because people talk so much crap, and sorry for my French, but some things doesn't make any sense, and people need to realize this is just a business. People need to wake up. This is a business where you make money, end of story, nothing else. And all these things with the vibration you need to have and all this is only crap. This is nothing to do with it. QFS is a computer system that works with quantum physics. They have nothing to do with your vibration. This is just a mega supercomputer. That's all it is. So that's why they give you a list of the things that you can do and the things you cannot do, because the computer cannot read what you do. So eventually they were saying as well, the Tesla phones. Yeah, well, once you have the program in your phone or in your laptop, it doesn't really matter. You can actually, even if you want, you can go into the bank to have your account and access it. It's not a big deal about it. QFS is just your safe. It's like a safe box. You have it there. Nobody knows what you have. End of story. And then you just download it for whatever you need. So that's the easiest way for everyone to be comfortable, and secure for the money.
Yeah. No, awesome. Thank you. And two more questions, and then I'll pause for a minute to try to gather my my thoughts more. I had two, and then I just lost them. On the QFS is so one of the fears, right? Just in general, is that two. Okay, I remember. I'm sorry. So you said that we're going to get a list. There's a certain person that has a biweekly, telephone call, and he talks about this book of 50 pages of companies we can and can't invest with and give money to. Are you saying that we're going to get something like that we're going to get a very extensive listing of who and what we can contribute to try to protect us? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, you know how you're not going to have a phone call. Once you go in there, you're going to have a contract, obviously, for your exchange, and they're going to give you a list of the activities that you can invest and the ones you cannot invest into. For saying, just a quick example, you cannot obviously put any money towards any kind of activity for human trafficking. If by any meanings you are linked to something like that, you're wiped out with your money, right? So that's one of the activities you cannot do. You cannot use this money to go into strip clubs, right? You cannot use this money to go and buy drugs. You cannot use this money to go and fund crazy people to buy guns. These kind of activities, if you're linked to any of them, your money will be confiscated, and which is normal. I mean, none of us, I think, are in this situation to do crazy things. And as well, there is certain restrictions, at least on my side. Again, I repeat, because of the amount of money we're getting for the bonds could be a little bit different from the currency. I cannot spend more than 100,000 a day on a meal, right? If I go to a restaurant and I spend more than 100,000, I cannot spend more than that. And you might think, who is going to spend $100,000 in a day? Well, there's people that are crazy and they're going to spend more than that. So the reason they're doing it, so people don't go crazy. Eventually, with the time, you will be able to spend a little bit more. I understand, but what they're trying to control, in a way, not to control, to prevent people to do crazy things. So the only thing there is no restriction on spending is you can buy a private jet, you can buy a boat or a cruise ship if you want to. Helicopters, there's no restriction on the amount you want to spend if you have it. For your homestead, for say you cannot spend for where you're gonna live, you cannot spend more than 20 million for your house, right? And I mean, who is gonna spend more than 20 million in a house? I mean, that's crazy money. Yeah, of course you can go live in Bel Air, but believe me, those houses can be that costly, but they're no wow. But that's for your homestead. As far as you invest into real estate, there's no limit. There is certain limit when you invest money into mining, either gold or silver, or any kind of mining. You have to have all the permits and all the regulations, and there's no limit for investment. For business, there's no limit as well. For personal items, is a little bit more restrictions, saying you cannot spend more than 100,000 in a watch or jewelry at one time. But you can buy a watch for 100,000 today and another 100,000 for tomorrow, and so on and so on and so on. But you cannot spend 100,000 on one time. Same for a car. So what they're trying to avoid is people to be bragging about, no, I have 100,000 Rolex and 300,000 new Lamborghini. That's the only thing they try to avoid, the people to go completely nuts, because they're going to start spending a lot of money. That's why when you invest into business, there's no restriction, because that's the whole purpose, is that people keep investing and helping other people. But again, this is obviously they're going to give a list of companies that you will be forbidden to invest, and I'd rather not saying what companies, because maybe some of you already know. So same with with the stock exchange pretty much is gonna disappear at some point, because it's nothing but money laundering activities anyway. Just a few handful of people control that. So there's certain activities that we rather don't get involved. And again, you're gonna have that list of activities or companies. I mean, it's not like it's imposed not to do it. They're not telling you, oh, you do it, you'll be punished. No, but you can do whatever you want. But if you do it, you don't won't have the money no more. It's not an imposition to not to do it, but you're gonna have something in exchange. Use something illegal. Well, that's what happened. But also they have as well something that was really amazing. Even that myself, uh, I'm a Christian myself, but also they have the amount of money that you can donate to your church. So you cannot go crazy and say, "Oh, now I'm going to be the best Christian in the world. I'm going to donate 200 million to my church." No, you can't. You can. The only thing you can do is up to 2 million per year, and the church or whatever you go, they have to give you a receipt that all the churches have, because they're a non-profit organization. They register, so you can prove that you give that money to charity, and you cannot exceed certain amount. And again,
Right.
it will depends on how much you're making, and that's all. I mean, it depends how you're making. That's going to be restrictions or not. Or it's no restriction. It's just a way to protect and actually reinvest the money into the world. Let's say that.
Yeah. No, two more. Well, one more question. It's going to be kind of a two-parter, but man, thank you so much. You're vindicating so much of what I know that I've been saying personally, and I know that Oki and Sabrina and pretty much everybody on this platform has been saying. So again, thank you. One of the thoughts and the fears with the QFS is that because it has such ability to track and to suspend and garner money based on what we do with it. One of the fears is that we're just trading one big brother for another big brother. Do you have any advice? If I have a business partner, for say, and I donate money to his business, and then he goes and does something nefarious with it, like he's into child trafficking, and I don't know that, and I think I'm contributing to a legitimate business, and 2 or 3 steps down the road, that money gets used for nefarious things. Does that come back onto me personally, or does that just stop that transaction and that money gets returned? Or what is our protection that the QFS isn't just another global mechanism to control us? Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and absolutely. I mean, yeah, we traded one big brother for another one, but it's not like we have too much of a choice at the moment. The only benefit is the new big brother is not as imposing or as tyrant as the one we have at the moment. Is designed to be more freely for everyone. But yes, indeed, if your partner is doing something illegal, obviously it's going to open an investigation and everything, and know that you are not part of it. Yeah, that person is going to get all the weight of the law, and the money can be returned, no to you, or just pretty much just go according to whatever the law is in your state or your wherever you live. If you don't have any links, you have to prove that actually what you're doing is obviously just a business. You didn't have a clue what he was doing, and but if you have any link, obviously you're gonna get you're gonna get punished. So that's what is so important. When we get the NDAs, they ask you what kind of activities as well you're gonna be performing or doing. So I'm guessing all the people in this channel right now, in this call, most of us are at least over 21, right? So, and even for the ones that are younger, that I've been telling Tamara, or Freedom Soldier, that she called here, this is really, really important. And sometimes I sound like an old record, right? You have to be careful who you talk to, who are your friends, and it doesn't matter if it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your obviously your wife and your kids, a different story. But it's someone that just come into your life and you want to try to impress them, you have to be really careful because you never know what are the intentions of the people. And the benefit we're going to have now, we can invest money into business that we already have or into projects that we always wish to have. And believe me, we don't need a lot of people. I rather hire people to work than have business partners, because then you don't want to, after all the whole this process, to end up with a problem just to have a partner. It's not worth it. So we have to be really really careful, regardless of the amount of money you're getting or what you're selling. We have to be really careful with the people that surround us. Of course, we don't have control. We cannot tell what people are gonna do, but that's the reason as well of the NDA. The less people know about you, the better, because they cannot get you into any conflict. Now you start talking, and it's on you. That's why it's so important, and
Yeah.
it's not to be trying to be arrogant or cocky, but what do you guys need to know how much I'm making, or what do I need to know
Right.
uh, uh, how much you guys making or how much I'm making? No, you don't need to know, right? This is your business, it's my business. We're here to help each other, fine. But the end result is for each individual. That's it. And if eventually we can do something better, I don't know, have a foundation to help, I don't know, starving hippopotamus in Colombia, that's fine. Everybody put some money in it and happy days. But that's a different story, you know. uh,
Yeah.
but no, not
No,
to.
amen.
We need to be careful with the acquaintances or the friends or the people that are going to come into our life. This is the money. Everybody thinks is easy to manage. No, having money is the amount of money you have in your pocket is going to be the amount of headaches you're going to have if you don't behave. It's exactly the same thing. So if you're going to be a
Yep.
millionaire, you're going to have millions of headaches every day, and you don't want to be now a slave of your money, minding it 24/7 because someone's going to come and try to take it. So this is just common sense, and I know
Yeah.
it's not too easy, but uh, the longest we have to keep our feet on the ground, and knowing the money
Yeah.
doesn't make us better. Money is only a tool. It doesn't matter how much you have. It's a tool. They help you to get from point A to point B to point C. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're driving a Volkswagen or you're driving a F-350. Still a car. It's going to take you from point A to point B. The only difference is how we look inside, and you pay more money for one or the other, but it's the same thing. It's a tool. Money is no difference. Just it's going to help you to do more things or to destroy yourself. So do either
Yeah.
or. So it's simple.
So the short answer is keep your darn mouth shut.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a
um,
reason for it.
so Brandon, do you want me to ask the question about the ranch, or do you want to ask it?
I'll just to confirm, there's a caveat, I'm sure, on purchasing property with, like, let's say for instance you buy a ranch and you pay 32 million for it, but your intent is to sell cattle and the agriculture there. That would be allowed, correct?
Yeah, because I will get into business range. So only your homestead, uh, you cannot purchase a house over 20 million. But again, I'm speaking only for what it's my uh, restrictions, right? For the amount of money I'm getting. Maybe you guys get more or you get less. Maybe your restriction won't be as bad as mine. But if you buy a bigger house, I don't think you want to invest 20 million in a house. And that's another thing people don't understand. Buying a house is an asset in a way, but it's actually you're not making any money. It's a money eating machine. You have to keep putting money into it to maintenance it, to for maintenance to pay the maintenance for the house you don't make any money in a house. So when people say, "Oh, I want to buy me a mansion," be careful, because it depends on the size that you're buying. You'll be looking about 10% of the price of the house every year to maintain the house. So, like you say, you're buying a ranch and you're selling cattle, or you can sell, I don't know, vegetables or fruits. That's fine. That's a business. So you have no restriction on the amount of land you're buying, if it's a business.
And if there's a house on it, correct? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hoosier, you want to go ahead and ask some of the questions from the board?
Real quick, Hoosier,
Yeah.
before you start, we'll take the questions on the board. Guys, if you have a question, put it on the board. I've done a thumbs up trying so Hoosier can see it. And then Hoosier, after you get done answering questions, we'll go to TW, okay?
Okay.
Sabrina, check the DMs from Jim.
Thank you. I got it.
Okay. Thanks so much for chatting with us this evening. This is awesome.
No problem.
First question is Sky Blue. She's wanting to know, will we have access to our token way?
Correct. You have access to your token, and what way? Sorry.
She was wanting to know, will we have access to our tokens that we download to our accounts? Will we have access to those right away?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you go in there, like I said, they can pay you. They're gonna pay you in the QFS, and depends on the amount of money you're making. You can be paid straight away, or it will take a certain time to get paid in full. But you're gonna get. It's not like you're getting tokens for the money you have. You're gonna say, okay, I want to download 100,000. So they're gonna give you a token of a value of 100,000, and straight away you download it into your account. It will be converted into the currency you use in the country you live. They will be usable straight away. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, Susan. She says, question for him. He mentioned they will show you how to set up a trust account. Does he also mean setting up a trust in general, or do we still need to have set up our own trust? Do we have to have our own trust already?
No, you can. They're gonna show you how to do it, right? They're gonna have certain companies that can do it for you. You can pick the options they have. In my opinion, uh, and don't get me wrong, you're dealing with a banker. Regardless if it's the QFS, is a different story, but you're dealing with a person. So I will have the two options. I will look myself for another option to set up my own trust with a lawyer, and also have the option they give you, and then you just pick whatever is the best for you. As simple as that. I mean, they offer you and they open it for you, or you can go ahead and open yourself one. You don't have to have one open already. If you have it, fine, but you don't have to.
Good
That
enough.
answer the question? Mhm.
Okay.
Can I just add to that quick, just as a precaution?
Yeah.
Okay, so with the trust, one of the things that we've been told is that if we go into the bank with no trust, to be careful with that, because then the bank could possibly become the beneficiary of it. So that's why everybody has been recommended to either come in with their trust or do the trust afterwards, to make sure that the bank does not become the beneficiary on your trust. So I just wanted to add that in there, and you can answer that if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. The bank will give you options, right? So it doesn't mean you have to take those options. They're options. So they're not imposed. It's an option. So you can have your own on the side and walk in it with it and say, yeah, I already have my trust, and that's it. Yeah, you have to be really careful when you read the contract and what you're signing, because yes, indeed, you can put the bank as a beneficiary, and then they will give you the money when they want to. That's for sure. But again, that's nothing to do with the QFS. It have to do with the banker. So you have to read everything before you sign it. And if you can have the option to open a trust before ahead of time, it would be better, but you don't have to. Again,
Okay, let's see here. Val, she's got a question. Is there a certain plan for folks over 70 with bonds and currency, since we may have 25 years to receive?
um, I don't get the question. If the
Sure.
folks over 70 can exchange bonds and currency at the same location.
Well, I think she might be thinking to the birth certificate, money, and that kind of stuff.
Hooser,
Yes.
Hooser. That what she's talking about, sir, is basically could she get a lump sum instead of a payout, like it being tranched? Because we've heard that everybody at the age of 70, they will receive all of their money and it won't be tranched.
Yeah, absolutely. There can be an option that you can discuss that with the banker. And yes, they'll be happy because they won't pay you in full. They will pay you a lump sum and say, okay, instead of give you 100 million, I can pay you straight away 50. And yeah, of course you can.
Okay. Lucy, I think he pretty much answered this question, but her question was, she was wanting to know if we were going to be getting Q phones and laptops.
He already
So
answered that one.
yeah, basically, yeah. So let me see if I can find another one here. So with the QFS account, can we move money back into it? So she's wanting to know if we can move money back into the QFS.
Absolutely, yeah. You can again, this is going to be based on your currency you use per every country. And something I haven't said, for example, there's another uh, misinformation saying once we go into this, all the currencies are going to be valued at the same rate. No, that's not going to happen. Meaning, you cannot compare the wealth, uh, let's say Russia, China, India have as far as gold backup compared with countries like Bangladesh or North Korea, right? Just to give you an example, please don't take it personal, it's just an example. So these other nations are extremely poor at the moment. Eventually, they're going to get richer as well if they want to be part of it, or they're going to be left behind and they won't be able to buy absolutely nothing. They have to be part of it or they're going to be out. But you cannot compare the amount of gold is in the Chinese banks or the Russian banks or Indian banks with the amount of gold is in the North Korean banks, no, or Bangladesh bank, whatever you call it. It doesn't matter the country. So for the time being, at some point we're gonna get into equal uh, rate or exchange. Let's say $1 for €1 or £1 for $1. Yes, eventually we're gonna get there. But again, this is not automatic because then you give too much power to these nations that don't have any natural resources against countries that are super powerful, like Canada, Brazil, Mexico, United States. Their natural resources are uh, endless. You cannot give these powerful countries the same power to the countries that don't have anything. So we have to be careful with this thing that we're gonna be equal. Yeah, eventually. So what I'm trying to say is, for the powerful nations or countries, it's gonna be faster and easier to match the exchange rate into every currency per nation. So let's say the QFS, the token is gonna cost you $1. Fine, no problem, because now you have the wealth to back you up. So yes, indeed, you can buy a token again and put it into your QFS account. You can upload money and download money.
Okay. Hometown Gary, he's asking that we've always been told that we could not take our phones in with us to our appointments. So hometown Gary is saying, since we're not getting Q phones, can we take our phones in with us to our appointment?
Well, this is a funny thing. When I went to the classes, I wasn't allowed to take my phone with me for the whole the duration of the classes. So the reason is because they don't want anyone to take any information out of there recorded by the officials. You can talk a lot, but it's not credible if you will record a bank official saying everything or disclosing the whole program. So yes, you might not be able to go into the bank with your cell phone. Yes, that can be. There's a big possibility, and for the sake of everyone, I recommend it not to.
Okay. Kanaka, do we pay things directly from the QFS system, or
No.
that we have to transfer to our normal bank to purchase things?
Yes, you have to transfer. You have to download it. For at the moment, that's what they're doing. I'm not saying it could change, but there's no indications about it. But for the time being, you're just gonna be able to download it, and then from there you can purchase things. Yeah.
Okay. TW, I see your question. You want to go ahead and ask him your question?
Go ahead, Hooser. We'll let you ask that question. TW's not getting good reception.
Okay. I'm not quite sure what he's referring to, but he's saying, is that for Zim money or currency also? So I'm not sure what he's referring to.
TW,
Uh,
can you hear
I think what she's talking about, same Zimbabwe dollars, is still a currency. The difference with the SIM, it's a currency, but it's also a bond, right? But it will be considered as a currency as well as the dollar or the euro or the pengos or the Iraqi dinar. It is considered a currency.
That was for Indigo.
This is what he meant. He needed to know whether the Zim bond was the one being restricted or is all currency, including the Zim, being restricted on purchasing.
Restricted in purchasing. I don't get the question.
Basically, it's all currency that's going to be restriction and purchasing. It's just not Zim, correct? It'll be everything.
Oh, everything. Yeah. I mean, the redemption center is gonna tell you which currency they're gonna take uh, first, and please don't shoot the messenger. Uh, the main currencies, they're gonna pay all of them. Don't get me wrong, but the main currency they're gonna pay is the Sim, the Iraqi dinar, the dong, and the dollar, right? Now, the rest of the currencies you can have the pesos, you can have the bolivar from Venezuela, you can have Argentinian pesos, you can have Mexican pesos, you can have whatever other currency. They're gonna pay it, but the main payout, and please hear me out. Don't, like I said, don't kill the messenger. Is those four currencies that I told you. The reason is because those are the main holders of gold in the world. The rest of them as well, but in less quantity. And as well, like I know everybody, the Venezuelan bolivar is so into fashion, but the Venezuelan bolivar is so devaluated, like literally it costs nothing. People cannot buy nothing with it. It will be revaluated. That's why it's part of the RV as well. You get paid, and you will get paid well. But the four main currencies you're gonna get paid is Sim, Dong, Iraqi dinar, and dollars.
Okay. Next question is hometown Gary. if you have a felony, can you exchange or redeem?
Depends on the felony you have, and you might be able to do it, but the restrictions are going to be. I mean, there is a way that you can do it instead of doing it yourself. Again, you can set your trust account that you can designate a trustee. In this case, can be your attorney, and they can do the transaction for you. But as well, you have to keep in mind, if you're a felon, and I'm not judging you, I'm nobody to judge. Uh, you need to come. If you want to do it yourself, you need to come forward before anything and say, "Look, I have these charges." Uh, they might tell you yes or no, but the easiest way to do it is to have someone to represent you. You can still do it. I mean, it's no. I'm not saying you can't, but there's other way to do it. You still get the benefits, but in a different way.
Okay. Joyful. My husband and I were going to our appointment. Now that he's had a stroke and he is in rehab, can his name be added to our account even if he isn't mobile? If he's not able to attend the appointment?
Absolutely, because she can go herself, and again, she can get the exchange for her, and in the trust, he will put him as a beneficiary, so he will be part of it. Yeah, I know he probably cannot move and cannot sign nothing, but she can be because they're married. She's the legal guardian of the husband, for saying, and she be responsible for the transaction, and you can put him as a beneficiary after everything is done. Of course, he don't have to be there. The longest one of them is there. That's enough. The
I might,
setup after the fact. Yeah.
I
Hey,
might
Hooser,
add,
go back. Hooser,
I'm
go
sorry.
back up to Wham's question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Uh, any currency or bonds the redemption center might not be able to exchange or redeem for us.
As far as the currency, and currency means notes, no coins, only notes in any nation. Yeah, they be able to exchange it. As far as bonds, uh, up to my knowledge, is not going to happen because the redemption centers are for uh, currency. In order to have bonds redeemed, it's a different process, and I know that because I'm into the process of the bonds. So you can try if you want, but most likely you want to walk out of there with the bond in your hands because they're not going to exchange it. Because it's a completely different subject, and the bonds are worth more than the currency. If depends on the bonds you have, obviously. Did I answer the question?
Okay.
It did,
Let's see here.
but let me extrapolate, or let me go out on that a little bit. So, what are their options when that happens? Who do they need to contact? Or what is their other process for possibly getting their bond redeemed so that they know where they can go off and about? Um, that's hold on, let me look at my question here. If there's a different procedure or a possible denial on certain things that people might hold, they want to hear what possible what's the possibilities.
Well, the possibilities are many. The first thing is to know what kind of bonds they hold and the amount, the quantities they have, one, two, 300, doesn't matter. And then based on that, uh, I'd be able to help you and say yes, they have a value, or they will have a place in the market. That's number one thing to do. And don't forget, we're going to gold back currencies worldwide. So most of these bonds are gold back. Not not all of them, but I'm gonna say 90% of them. And it says what's the percentage they pay in gold. You know, it can be $1,000 gold and pay 2% interest per year, whatever. But it says the word gold, even if it's in Chinese, in French, in Spanish, in English, in German, in Russian, it doesn't matter. If it says gold, those bonds have value. How much value they have, it's really hard to tell unless uh, I'm able to see the bond, a picture of it. I say, okay, this have a value. Now, the problem with the bond is in order to exchange the bond, it's not like the currency, but because the currency is just cash that you have everyday use. The bond you have to have at minimum of 5 years uh, with someone that represents you. So, meaning you would need to have it in an SKR for a minimum of 5 years. Why so? They want to see that the bond remains in the same place for 5 years, and you don't have someone that's just fishing around presenting this bond to the whole planet just to try to get something. It is a little bit more complicated to exchange the bonds that they exchange the currency. It's not impossible, but at this stage, the only choice you have is to get with someone that already have bonds and to put it into that package to get some money. Otherwise, uh, your chances are mm, really, really low to exchange a bond or to cash it. But there's choices. I mean, uh, you can put it into a package with other people and just piggyback it and do a contract and get some money for it, or don't get any money. You can keep it as a souvenir and hang it in the wall, but there will be a shame when you can actually get some money. The tricky part is to know people that are actually doing it, and that's what it took me so long to be in this business, because not every you cannot trust everyone, and once you get to that point, um, you spend thousands of, if not millions of dollars, and too many losses. But I'm here. That's fine. I can guide you to whoever have this situation. I can guide them, or even Sabrina can guide them how they can be done. I mean, it's a really easy process. Uh, the waiting time is not too much, and again, the amount of money you will get for the bonds, I cannot give you a 100% amount, even if I see the bonds or what type of bonds they're holding, because it will depends who they have them with, in what package they have them with. They will get more money than if you take it to the redemption center, because they won't pay you that.
Okay, TW's got a question. Yeah, I know you kind of covered interest, but his is just a little bit different. He's wanting to know, is there anything on structured payouts to receive interest?
It looks like we lost him. Sabrina.
Okay, so that means structured payouts from the QFS. And no, that because what
Sabrina.
you yeah, I'm here.
We lost our guest.
Oh, okay. He'll be back, I'm sure.
He's at the bottom with his hand raised.
Okay, he's opened back up. He must have got kicked out. I got him unmuted. Go ahead. Thank you, Freedom.
Sorry.
Yeah, you mute me. That's why I couldn't talk. No, you won't be able to make any interest again. QFS is just like a uh, saving account, and even if you're gonna get payments, those payments don't get you interest, because you're gonna get the net amount they paying you. The difference, they can, for some people they will be able to pay 100%, and for some people don't. I give you an example. For my case in particular, for myself, I get in 1% payment on the date I get in my first payment, and then 9 days later I get 9% more. So in that month alone, I get 10% of my 100% payment, and then depends on the amount I'm getting, the net, or yeah, the net payment. Is up to the official to say, well, you can get your payment in 1 year, or you can get your payment in 10 years or 5 years. Depends on the amount I'm making. But in my case, I get in 1% no matter what. Every bond holder in the planet, doesn't matter if it's the biggest one or the smallest one, get 1%. Everybody get 1% of the amount of the contract they have. Then they get 9%, and eventually they keep giving more and more and more. And again, depends on how much money you're making for the redemption. But there's no, you don't make any interest while you're waiting.
Okay.
Can I a quick example?
Yeah, go ahead. I had to, Sabrina, I'm gonna take a quick little break. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So you guys remember the Knights Templar, right? And what they used to do is they would secure the money as people went from country to country. That's really what this is doing. It's just securing the money as people need to go and get it, and they can download it or get it from wherever they need to get it. So it's a placeholder. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
That helps. Yeah, people tend to realize that. Question about med beds. Do you know anything about med beds and implementation? How quick people might get them? Is it all true? Is it a bunch of crap?
Well, medbeds are I'm gonna say somehow true and somehow are not. Meaning, there's many things that yes, indeed, the medbeds are gonna be able to cure, but as there are other things that is no way. I mean, it's not gonna happen. Um, Many illness that people might have cancer or have diabetes or have some problem with the corneas and the eyes, or uh, anything that have to do with your organs. Yeah, it might be able to help it, and I no doubt about it. But as far as the thing that you're gonna be into the med bed and you'll be able to learn 7 languages in one go, or eventually you will be able to recover to look like you're 25 years old. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's programming, and I don't think anyone should be subject to that kind of experiment. Uh, so that's why it's so controversial to think, to believe in the full uh, idea of the medbed. It's an amazing idea, but not everything that they say is 100% truth. It's no. Uh, there's gonna be some improvements, of course, but um, I don't. In the personal, I think is not everything it is as they say it. Many things, yes, of course. I mean, you can regenerate the organs. You can do something with your eyes if your eyes you cannot see good, and yes, of course you can. But to grow limbs and stuff like that, no. I mean, it takes more than a machine to grow a limb, and or to grow new teeth. I mean, this is a complete different story. That's what I'm saying. We have to separate fiction with reality, and uh, I know we are driven by an amazing world that we want to, or we ever dream about it, but there's many things that is just an impossibility. It's no way to pretend that I'm, I don't know, I have my arm's been amputated. Now I go into the bed and I have in 2 weeks I have a new arm. I mean, no, it takes more than just a couple of X-rays and laser to grow an arm. I mean, the methods are a fact. They exist. They're gonna be implemented. There are some already in the trial, and they're working fine. but for certain things, not for the whole miracle thing they talking about. I mean, that's what I say. We need to separate the fiction from reality. It's gonna work, but not in the 100% that they're talking about.
But we will be able to schedule appointments at our or at our redemption, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sabrina, do you want to pick up at Belly Kelly? That's where Hoosier left off.
All right, let me get there.
Can can I ask one question real fast?
Go for it.
Um, so I lost you right as you started talking at the very beginning. So you might have said this, but you're scheduled to sign your NDA tomorrow. Can you give us any kind of time frame as far as what we should expect coming soon as far as currency owners?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually this morning talking about it with my lawyer here. Um, Different from what people are been saying again, this information. They say, oh, the currency have to be paid first. No, sorry, the bonds have to be paid first in order for the currency to actually have value. And the reason is uh, the bonds have more value because they're actually backed up by gold than the currency, right? Just very few currencies still back. Well, they're no back up by gold anymore, but they were, and you still have them. Like the pengo was back up by gold before. Now that doesn't exist. It's not in circulation, right? Uh, so what's going to happen is today UBS Bank bought Credit Suisse, and it's all over the news. You can look it up. This is a fact. It's not me making this up. They bought it. So now UBS will be in charge to do all the payments for the bonds, right? So once the bonds are activated, uh, there's going to be global uh, bond redemption or bond payout. Automatically, I'm going to say for now, I think it's going to be 4 or 5 days behind for the currency, or maybe less, because the whole thing here is that once the bonds are paying out as the new currency or the QFS active, so now they can create money to pay the currency holders. Now, watch out, creating money is not like what the states are doing, or mainly all the countries in the world, that they just print money whenever they want to. No, they be able to create money because they have something to back it up. Meaning, if United States have in the, I was going to say Fort Knox, but maybe Fort Knox is empty at the moment. Uh, Anywhere in the States, they have 300 tons of gold. Okay, now they can print a new USTN, US Treasury note. They have it already in the banks ready to go, but they cannot put it into the open market till the redemption starts. Now, how they will be able to create more notes? Well, the states have to buy more gold or more silver or more oil or more copper or more aluminum or whatever metal they want to back it up. So they will be able to create more and more and more and more, but have to do with the reserves the country have. So that's the main reason why is some of these payments are designed to be scheduled, not at once, but um, they have a time to be paid on full. And again, and not only there's many countries that don't have gold, and many countries don't have silver, but they might have a lot of oil, or they might have water, or they might have other natural resources they can back up their currency with. They call back gold back. Yes, I understand that, but there are some nations that don't have gold, and they probably won't be able to buy as much. So they have something else to back it up. So that will be take into in a way to back up that currency. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm gonna say it after tomorrow, and you have to be really careful for what I'm saying because tomorrow the first payments for many bondholders starts. So from tomorrow onwards, I'm gonna say maybe it's gonna take the following week when people actually start getting paid. Now, it's not just as simple as, oh, I have a little shoebox with some currency. I'm gonna go walk in it. Yeah, you can make your appointment. They're gonna ask you what you have, what's the quantity of notes that you have, and they're gonna go from more to less. It's the same happen with the bonds. The bond holders that have containers load, they go first before me. This is obvious because I don't have the same amount as these people. So the ones that have the more are gonna get paid first. Doesn't mean you're not gonna get paid. You're just gonna get paid after. I don't know if it makes any sense. But that's how it's gonna go. And again, America is in a different scenario than the rest of the world for because they were the creators of this uh, um, thing that is happening. The RV in general, what America was one of the first nations to actually invented it. It's not invented it, but they get all together to make it happen. So you will have more redemption centers in America than anywhere else in the planet. So maybe for you guys would be easier and quicker. And again, maybe the big currency holders will be sent somewhere else instead of being in America. It can be sent to Europe to exchange the pallet loads or boxes or containers load, and then it will be a possibility for people that have less just to go into the redemption centers in America to go quicker. Again, this is not this is not set up in a way that um, A, B, C, D, or that only goes for what I'm saying. It's the way I see it work with the bonds. There's no difference with the currency because even in the bond business, I seen people they bring in literally pallets full of currency, and they say, "Yeah, you have to wait because I have a guy in front of you that have 10 pallets. You only have one." I say, "Okay, fine." So that's the way it is. I mean, I mean, it's obvious, and the reason is because every nation that is involved into this, they have to fill up a basket. So once they fill up the basket on what they need, then that's it. They take those notes and those bonds and they're gonna put it in the furnace, and that's it, burned forever. So the anticipation is amazing, but we need to honestly, I think to we need to wait after tomorrow, maybe another week. It's possible that during the weekend people start maybe getting contracts. That's fine, or phone calls, or or a number that you can start calling for your appointment. I'm not saying it's not a possibility. As far as I know, everything's gonna go so fast. But keep in mind, many people are gonna get paid in many years. So who knows? Maybe you guys are lucky and get paid quicker than me because depends on what you have. And happy days. I don't mind. I mean, that's everybody deserves to get paid quick. But again, this is independent from each one of us what we have.
Have you heard that, like, how we will get notified? Is it say a 1-800 number, or is it a website, or do you know that?
Sorry again, you break up.
Do you know how we might get notified in the United States? Have you heard that it's a 1-800 number, or is it a website, or do you know how we might be contacted?
Well, this is another thing. The only thing they're gonna do, they're gonna put the number for exchange in I'm gonna say in the banks, right? And you're gonna be a website, yes, of course, and you're gonna have to call and make the appointment. This is not. This is exactly what I was trying to say before to one of the guys here. How exactly the banks or the institution knows what you have? You think they're gonna call you and like a miracle and say, "Oh, I think these people have money, currency. Let's call them." No, you have to call and make the appointment. Yes, of course, it's gonna be an announcement. Obviously, I just still don't know exactly how it's gonna work in America again. But yes, you guys gonna have to. They're gonna let you know in advance. I can find out more in the next couple of days how that gonna work out in America. And like I said, mm, my to my knowledge, the the currency holders, they're gonna set the banks that are actually gonna be able to redeem or to exchange it, or they're gonna have locations for you to go into or make the appointment and go into. But they're gonna designate which banks are the ones that they're gonna be able to do it. Not all the banks gonna be able to do it. That's another thing that people need to realize. Did that answer the question? No.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you so much. Sorry, Sabrina. Back to you.
Go ahead, Hoosier.
Okay, Happy Moon, she had a question here. Any rate info on Zim to determine a possible NDA period?
Um, I was the only thing I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to tell you any rate is because again, mm, the American side gonna have a benefit that other countries won't have. So their rate will fluctuate in between the nations, and but again, there's too much speculation on the rates at the moment. So that's what I'm saying. This is for the last 12 years. I'm trying to understand exactly the mathematics behind it, how they're gonna pay this, how this was created, right? So let's say uh, a note is 1 trillion Zimbabwe dollars or whatever it is, right? So if we are expecting to have 1 to 1, you are in the wrong business. This is never gonna happen because if you hold in 100 notes of 1 trillion each, how many quadrillions is that in your pocket? You end up the richest man in the planet. That's not going to happen. So what they're going to do, and again, the sims are devaluated currency. That's why they have that crazy number in it. But in reality, you will go to buy some sims when you go to Zimbabwe. It costs you a few dollars to buy 1 trillion note. You know, it costs you nothing. So what they're gonna do when they revaluate it, everything is fractioned. So it is really hard to tell the actual rate at the moment. Everything you hear is speculation. Now that you're gonna make a lot of money on it, yes, but I cannot tell you a specific rate or yeah, you go with one trillion note and you're gonna walk out of there with 100 million. No, that's not gonna happen because believe me, I seen myself. Literally, I see here in the chat someone put a picture of a truck with the pallets, and it's true. I seen myself pallets of boxes with sims sealed completely, never open, and every box have 1,000 notes in it. So I know they're quintillions or something like that. The notes are something I never seen in my life. You cannot even read it. How many zeros they have. So imagine if that person will exchange 1 to 1, will be the richest man ever in the planet, and there will be no money for nobody else. So again, uh, we need to separate again fiction from reality. You're gonna make a lot of money, yes, indeed, but not as everybody expecting to. Oh, walk there and I'm gonna be a billionaire. No, it's not. It's not that simple. But the rates, I cannot talk about it. I mean, I cannot. I'm not only not authorized, but I don't have the full knowledge of the rates yet because I'm not the one setting the rates. So, but you will be fine. You will make a lot of money out of it.
Okay. Billy, she has a question. Is Zim going together on the QFS account along with the other currencies? Do we add at redemption for humanitarian payouts separately for humanitarian purposes?
No. Uh, we need to also have humanitarian purposes on the bond, and believe me, they're higher than the currency. I'm obliged to invest 80% of my profit into humanitarian projects. Now, the difference is what people understand by humanitarians. If people understand humanitarian project is just give money away, you need to go back and look what humanitarian means. Humanitarian means, let's say, I make 10 million, right? Or any one of you make 10 million, fine. 80% will be 8 million that you have to invest into humanitarian project. Humanitarian projects could be that you build a new hospital. Well, 8 million won't get you nowhere to build a hospital, but let's say a clinic, or to build 20 houses in Costa Rica, or in Oklahoma, or uh, anywhere in America. That's humanitarian from the point of view that you're building houses for people that you're gonna rent, right? For a lower amount of money than the average rent, right? So you're helping people to actually become or to have a house instead of be in the streets or have many people living in one place. So humanitarian means you have to help people, but doesn't mean you cannot make money. You know what I mean? Eh, eh, the whole money you're gonna get paid is gonna go all into QFS. So you have certain amount of years to prove that the money they designate for humanitarian, you are using it for that purpose. So meaning, uh, they pay you and they say, okay, you have to get 50% of your money into humanitarian projects. Fine. So again, this is going to be for every individual. They say you have 5 years to prove that you're using that money for humanitarian projects. Fine. So in 5 years, you get the permits to build houses or to build a new clinic or to build a new school, or you can actually in America it's amazing because you can build a school and you can rent the school to the educational system. It's yours, but it's not yours. You don't manage the school, but they pay you rent, so you're making an income out of it. So you're helping your community. So in that length of time, you don't use that money. They're gonna come and tell you, hey, what are you doing? The money was given to you for a purpose. You need to invest it in humanitarian projects. And again, if you make the mistake to just donate the money, that's not humanitarian. That's just giving money away. And most likely you're going to end up with no money in the next 5 years. So humanitarian means you help, but you get money back. And while getting money back, you can help more people. And it's always a circle economy that you're going to keep making money and making money, be able to help more people and more people. And that's the way it is. And but once you get paid, you get all the money into your QFS account, and they will tell you how much money you have to put into humanitarian. Now, everyone involved into this will get a different percentage of money they need to put into humanitarian. So it's not the same the person to make 20 billion or the person to make a couple of millions. So it's not going to be the same percentage. It's just obvious.
Thank you for answering those questions. Hey, I'll personally, when this is said and done, you can come to Oklahoma and hang out. Will that work?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean any disrespect for the places I said.
No, no. Hey, I love my Oklahoma State, but you're welcome here anytime. I think Dallas does have a few more questions. Sabrina, did you? Or we can turn it back over to Dallas.
Yeah, turn it over to Dallas. I've got more coming, so go ahead, Dallas.
Okay, go ahead, Dallas.
So I just wanted to kind of step back on that question that was just asked. So I had been told, and I'm sure most of us have heard, that we'll have two QFS accounts, one specifically designated to humanitarian funds to do humanitarian things, and then we'll have a personal or private QFS account. Are you saying that that's not true, that it will be one giant QFS account and we'll just be designated with the percentage that we should put towards humanitarian?
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how so I'm just thinking on behalf of the non-business owners, right? Like I'm a business owner. I've owned and ran multiple businesses throughout my life. I know how to, run my books and keep those numbers separate. In the redemption centers, as they say, you get X amount, but you need to put 20% of it towards humanitarian. Are they going to then help us set up business type accounts to where we can allocate those funds and separate those funds, or how's that going to work?
No, that's all on you, unfortunately. So
Okay.
what I'm saying here is, I give you an example of what I'm doing, right? I have a company that is based in California. They're selling the company. There is a new technology, or I'm gonna say technology, that they can cure any type of cancer uh, without medication. It's kind of like let's say it's a system, or like a dialysis. Let's say you have couple of these sessions, and depends on where you have the cancer, they will put the uh, it's not medication, it's holy cow, what's the name of the ah forgot the name now. But anyway, let's say it's like a cartridge, design it just for specific for cure, let's say pancreas cancer or lung cancer, or brain cancer, or metastases in the whole body. So it depends on what you have, it will cure that in a less invasive way than chemo or surgery. And the product has been tested already worldwide, and it's been FDA approved and all the approved from all over the nations, and it's ready to go. So the company is a little bit expensive, obviously, because it's really good and eventually will be in the top companies in the world. But let's say I just give you a rough idea. The company cost 100 million, right? And I'm making more than 100 million on my one sell. And then I said, well, I have to use 80% of my money into humanitarian. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy this company in California because I'm gonna make a lot of money. That's no doubt about it. But you know the amount of people that actually gonna get the benefit to be cured from something that could kill them? Hundreds of thousands of millions of people worldwide. And in top of that, the cure, or the sessions, or the whole process is not even a fraction of what it costs you to do with the normal chemo or radiotherapy. So that's humanitarian and helping a lot of people. Now, I can prove that the 80% of the money I supposed to use in humanitarian, I already invest 100 million. So I need another 700 million to go. So I need to find other ways to do it, build homes, uh, schools, you can build churches and rent it to whatever denomination it is, because the main problem with churches is that they don't have a place to call a home, and they always raising money. So instead of that, I'm gonna build the church. It's mine. It belongs to me. So you can go ahead and rent it to the Catholics, or to the Baptists, or to the whatever denomination, regardless of what it is. So instead of them going around and try to kill themselves to raise 2-3 million to build a church, I build it the way you want it. The property belongs to me because I'm just a property management, and you're gonna pay a small fee or a small rent, and you can be there for as long as you want to. So that's humanitarian as well. You're still making money, but you're helping others. But that's gonna be up to you. Uh, at least for my transaction, they give me 5 years time to start using the money for humanitarian. So in the 5 year time, I'm not do nothing. They're gonna come knock the door and I say, okay, what you doing? What you doing with the money? You need to start using it. So it's not a set time for start doing it. You don't have to be in a hurry and running and oh, I have to do this. No, no, no. I mean, you have to do everything uh, properly and legal.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that registers with me. I would probably set up a separate LLC or a separate trust, and then that way I could separate those monies and show, when the time comes, I say, well, this is what I put into it, this is what it's doing, this is how it's grown. But no, I get what you're saying. I've said for a long time that humanitarian, I think we've all had the wrong idea of humanitarian, and I love what you're saying. It's not about just giving money away, right? It's about helping somebody. My analogy is, I see a homeless guy on the street corner, or somebody tries to rob me, and my question is not, here, take everything. My question is, what do you need, right? Like, why are you robbing me, or why are you homeless? Are you homeless because you have a mental issue and we need to figure out how to help that or fix it? Or did you just get stuck in 2008, or did COVID ruin your business and you had to foreclose your business and that's why you're homeless? Well, okay, I'm not going to give you money just to give you money, but can I put you in a hotel for a month, get you some nice clothes, some new clothes, let you freshen up, and can I help you get a job? And after I help you get a job, can I help you maybe rent a house? Or maybe I built a house and I'll let you rent the house for a couple months until you get fully up on your feet, and then I'll sell it to you, right? But I think humanitarian, everything has to be generated around income. You can't have a humanitarian project where you just dump money out year after year after year with no return or no way to sustain the business or sustain the project, right? So I love what you're saying. Again, my brain was flying hard earlier, and it's kind of waned off. But when it comes to the cures and the med beds, not to change subjects, but better question. Do you have a time frame from your knowledge, your inside knowledge, as far as when Nasara and Jasara kind of kick off, and how long it will take to fully implement those new governmental structures, those new tax structures, those new sales structures, not only in the United States but globally? Do you have any kind of insight onto the time frame that might take over the next 6 months to years?
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's not written in stone, but Nazara and Jazara just started today. It's not officially in the news, and believe me, no one will see in the news yet. And if everybody's just expecting to see, oh, it's going to come, somebody's going to go just handcuff Biden and put Trump in the White House, that's not going to happen. I mean, it will happen eventually. But again, many people will be in shock, and we can see how is United States, and I can tell you because I lived there for over 17 years, and I love the States more than any other country, and it's not patronizing none of you, but I live in Texas, and there's no
except Oklahoma.
No, actually, I like Oklahoma. I was doing a little travel to Oklahoma. No, I love Oklahoma too. It's the neighbor.
I'm just messing with Okie.
But you can see the country is in a lot of distress, and I don't want to jump into politics, but you can see all the movement, different movements in the country that are just trying to separate everything. You have the Democrats against the Republicans, and then you have the whites against the blacks, and then you have the LGBTQ against the no LGBTQ, and then you have, I mean, it's divide and conquer, right? and it's working out really good at the moment. I mean, they're destroying the country, and this is exactly why the Nizara is so important to happen. And it just happened today with the acquisition of this bank, and tomorrow will be in a way to start the implementation with the money. Now, as far as I'm concerned with the bonds, and again, this is not going to happen with the currency. It's just the bonds. For the next 3 years, they're going to be paying out bonds. So you can imagine the quantities of bonds that are all over the world, right? Obviously, the ones that first come first serve, they're going to make the most, and the ones that come at the end, they're going to make money, but not as much as the ones in the beginning. So if the whole payout for the bond is going to take 3 years, that give you a rough idea how long it's going to take for everything to start changing. And we have to understand everything have to be gradually changing. Uh, the main thing that this is the most fascinating thing that we're living is we're part of this history. This is going to be history forever. So we are living it, we're part of it, and we should be proud, regardless of the nationality or anything, that we're part of it and we are able to do a change for it. We all agree, and I hope our current president is not doing anything good, but he's been exposed. But he's not the only one being exposed. There's many companies, not only in America, but worldwide, being exposed, which is good to happen. So the reason behind it is when the new announcements for Nazara and Jazara happen, is not going to be a shock for the people. You know, there's many things that are getting exposed with the Biden family, with the Rothschild family, with the DuPont family. So people already know who these people is. So there's not a surprise that they're doing funny things. So it's not going to be a surprise when they say, "Oh, we have new notes, new currency, and what's happening here." So, and as well, um, and it's really crazy for me to say because I'm Mexican, but you see a lot of my fellows, countrymen or from South America, invading America now, crossing the border. And the reason behind it is because, believe it or not, all this poverty was created by the United States. And believe me, I don't want to be racist or patriotic, but patriotic as a Mexican, nothing. But this is a reality. It was the most powerful country for so long. They were bullying everyone, but it got to the time where um, they cannot bully anybody no more. Everybody just dumped the dollar a long time ago, so they don't have the same power. So when the Nazara Jazara get implemented, guess what's going to happen? No more people going to travel nowhere. I mean, they're going to travel just as a tourist, and it's going to be such an amazing thing. And that's why exactly they're trying to send all these immigrants that are not only Mexicans or Central Americans, they come from all over the world and they just happen to cross through Mexico. But when all the nations get uh, all these funds available, all these massive immigration is going to stop. And uh, I think the whole Nazara, which is only for national, which is America, is going to be implemented pretty soon. And for Jazara, it's going to take, I'm going to say, to be the way it's supposed to be. I'm going to say maybe a couple of years, but it's going to start changing really, really soon. And that's all I can
Do you
say.
think once just yeah, no, awesome. Do you think that once that JISAR is announced publicly, that will then entice all of the immigrants to travel back to their countries to take part in the growth and the expansion and the financial gains within the countries? Do you think that
Absolutely.
that's part of the mechanism? Okay.
Absolutely, because that's
Um,
why it's 196 nation into Jazara. So the only reason people have to travel to the States is for money, nothing else. Believe me, and I can talk because I didn't born in America. Granted, I lived more than half of my life there. Uh, but the only reason people travel to, and I didn't went to America illegally, just for the record. But the reason the reason people travel is because there's this extreme poverty in other nations. I mean, you can go to Guatemala, you can go to Nicaragua, all Central America. The countries are, I mean, if you go there, you cry. You don't know what to do. It's extreme poverty. I mean, it's unbelievable. And what can I say? In Africa, it's no difference. In some parts of Asia, it's no difference. And that's why everybody wants to America, because you can make money. You can have the American dream and make money. Yeah, but there's a bigger problem. No, it's not only money. Nobody tell you you have to work like a dog to earn the dollars. Everybody think, oh, I'm just gonna shovel the money and be rich. No, you have to work for it, and that's fine. But once the nations get back, uh, you can see a clear example, and I think this is a pilot um, test in the whole world. You can see El Salvador, right? From being one of the most ruthless and more criminal countries in the whole planet, that you cannot even walk because there's only gang members, and I mean, it was the most insecure country in the planet. This new president changed everything, and in a matter of, I don't know, 5 6 years, there's no more gang members. There's no more nationals traveling to America to move to work there, and even that the money is not there yet. They start feeling secure. They start feeling that they're home. They're useful. They can do something again home. So the Salvadorians are not traveling as much as other countries. And a matter of fact, is the first country in the whole Americas that they canceled the income tax. They're not paying income tax anymore. So this is a small country, but it's a test. So if they can do it, anyone else can do it. So once the nations get back into the currency that you have purchasing power, you don't need to move. You don't need to go nowhere. But that's why one of the reasons the whole revaluation is happening. So it's not everything goes just to one nation. Everybody will be equal at some point, but everybody have purchasing power, and that's it. And a clear example: the only country, obviously besides Canada, the only other nation in the whole America, in the whole continent, that was able to travel to United States without visa was Argentina. And the reason is because Argentina was a really wealthy country. But now Argentina is completely destroyed. Their currency is 96% devaluated. And since that happened, guess what? Argentinians cannot travel to America. They need a visa. And to get a visa, it costs you an arm and a leg and an eye. And why they want to go to America? Because they're starving in Argentina. This is the whole secret.
Yeah.
So the Sahara and Sahara is going to change the world. Yes, indeed. But it's not a trick of magic. It's not going to happen overnight.
You said that the SAR went into effect today, and bond payouts will start tomorrow. Is that going to be in fiat dollars to begin with, or is the gold standard in the United States going to be implemented, and we go to a gold standard like BRICS?
Everybody's in gold standard anyway. Once they start paying, some of the fiat. I mean, we're still going to use a little bit of a fiat for a little while. They're going to start taking it out of circulation. So, like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. So they're going to start mixing up the new currency with the old one, and depends on every nation. I know certain countries that already start changing some of the notes, and that's the new notes. So America is not gonna be any difference. We're gonna still use a little bit of the fiat for a little bit, of time. I mean, it can be 6 months or up to a year, depends on the country. But eventually, they're gonna take it out of circulation and just put the new one, and that's it. And again, the old bills are gonna be destroyed. So it's
But
gonna take time.
like the money that you're going to get paid, your 1% that's going to go into your QFS account, is that going to be asset backed money? That's not going to be fiat money into the QFS?
No. It's asset back. Yeah.
Okay.
So just gonna change that whatever little bit into fiat, or I don't need to change it into fiat, because when I put it into my bank account, it's not fiat, it's just a number in the computer. So I can go ahead and buy whatever I want, and I'm not doing any exchange with currency. I just transfer numbers. You know what I mean? So the everyday cash that we use is gonna be start changing. I mean, we have to use it for a little bit, because it's not that simple. I mean, you have any idea how many? I don't want to say the number, but maybe quadrillions or quintillions or whatever notes are printed in every nation. It's just something crazy, and happens that the dollar is the most printed currency in the planet. So that's gonna take a while.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Two of them
Yeah.
here. One, is there a walkaway option? And then the other question, I just had it. Dang it. The other question is, you mentioned a wealth manager at your appointment. Is the wealth manager at your appointment someone that's just going to assist you through the process, or is that someone that's assigned to you that you have no choice?
No.
And then walkaway rate.
Sorry. The wealth management is not someone that they were imposed by anyone. It's just the person that will be there, and you will have the choice to actually hire him as a wealth management, or someone to instruct you to do, or you can um, not hire him, but to um, actually appoint him as someone that will help you in that branch or in that bank where you manage, where you do the transaction. It's not said that you're going to have that one, no, but there will be options to have. Oh, I like this one, or I like that one, or this one is more skillful. So you can pick whatever you want, and you can have your own wealth management outside of the bank as well. And the reason behind the wealth management official is to lead you, or to show you what are the options that some things you can invest, but you don't have to have one. But we agree, and I mean, I don't want to be uh, crazy with what I'm saying here, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think no one in this chat at the moment is a billionaire, otherwise wouldn't be in the chat, correct? So um, the only we I don't know how to say this. Many of us don't never have $1 million in our account. Many probably they do, or they have, but the majority don't. So the reason behind the wealth management is because if we never have a million, or a 10 million, or 100 million, how do we know how to use it? You know what I mean? So that's why you have a wealth management official to say, okay, you never have this kind of money, so these are your options. You can invest in here, you can invest in this one, you can buy bank instruments, that those bank instruments will generate interest, or you can invest in real estate. And there is a team of people that you're eventually going to have to get. Not only the wealth management, you're going to have to get a really good lawyer, a really good attorney, a really good accountant. So depends on what you want to do. And the walkaway rate, um, that's going to be up to every person. There's no negotiation when you walk in there. When they tell you this is the rate, that's it. You cannot say, oh, I want more, because no, that's it. I mean, there's no, let's say they give you $3 per dinar, just an example again. You cannot say, oh, I want 350. No, you're going to walk away. They're not going to give you 350. That's it. When they set the rate, that's all you're getting. Um, I don't know if you mean by walk away rate. If you say I get less, just give me this and I walk away. Yeah, it's an option too. It's at the end of the day, it's your money. You want to lose money for no waiting? Yeah, you can do that, of course.
Thank you. Go ahead, Hoosier.
Okay. Um, Trying to get my ball here together. Now, you said that currencies and will be more or less clumped all together, and that 80% of those funds will go toward projects and things of that nature, and that 20% would be ours. Could we go ahead and arrange for that 80% to be donated? Now, I know you said that we would be getting payments every so often. Would that be annually, quarterly, or however we set it up? And can we go ahead and set it up for that donation to take place each and every time a payment hits our account?
Yes, of course, you can set the donation, but again, that's going to be up to the person to download those funds. It's not automatically. You can set it up automatically from your bank account, not from the QFS account, from your bank account to disperse that money every time you need it. Now, when I say 80%, I was talking about my personal case. Every one of you will be different. And
Gotcha.
again, it's based on the amount of money you're making on the deal. If you're making 1 million, they probably say, no, you don't have to put any humanitarian money because you can do nothing. Or they say, well, 1% of the money have to go to humanitarian. Um, it will depends on how much money you will make on your deal.
Okay.
I was just talking about mine, and yes, you can set it up, but not directly from the QFS. Again, the QFS, you have to download the tokens
Correct.
into your usable money.
Correct. And then the other part of my question on that is that say we want to donate to the Trump approved projects, if that is a real thing. Do we still have the opportunity for the med bed?
If you want to donate to who? I'm sorry.
For the Trump approved projects, if that's who that we want to donate to, if we donate to those projects, do we still have an opportunity to go to the med bed?
Well, absolutely. You can donate the money. I mean, there's no guarantee just because you donate money you can go to the medbed. I mean, we have to understand at the moment maybe the medbed will be limited to certain places, but uh, as far as we go deeper into this new uh, way of life, if we're going to call it that way, there's going to be more places that you can go and just make an appointment. You don't have to necessarily donate the money in order to get an appointment for the medbed.
Correct.
You know, it's up to you. Like I said, whatever you guys want to do with your money is something I cannot interfere or give you my opinion. I'm just talking for my own personal opinion. What would I do? Uh, but again, donating money doesn't guarantee that you're gonna have first-hand access to it.
I got you. I mean, me personally, I had planned on donating, and plus I do have some smaller projects that I wanted to do. So that would still say that I still have projects. So okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No problem.
I have a question.
Sabrina, did you want to let Road Angel ask his question? There was one on the board.
Hold on. Yeah, let me ask another question.
Okay, go ahead.
We've been told that 80% will only be taken out of the ZIM, not out of our currency. Is that different for tier 4B versus bonds, or is it all the same?
No, again, the tiers are only designed for, let's say, tier four. That's sovereign countries and governments, let's say. And then you have the tier 4B, tier 3, and tier 2, tier 1. Um, no, really, when I said it's the same with the bonds. The rate you're gonna get, that's all yours. They're not gonna take any money out of it, and it's just an exchange for whatever rate they give you. They're not gonna take any money out of it. So how it's gonna work? Well, tier 4, which is happening now, is first, and then we come after, and so on and so on. Uh, there is another tier 3 where all the Indian nations are involved as well, all the tribes in America. So they have packages of bonds and boxes and everything, and they get the money for that. Let's say for a reservation of the whatever reservation or whatever Indians that they belong to, and depends on what you're doing. That's what the category of the tier you're gonna get into, but you're not gonna get any money taken out of it. So whatever rate they give you for what you have, you're gonna get it in total. Did that answer the question?
Um, yeah, I think so. Hometown Gary is asking, a road angel is asking, is there someone we can contact to ask if our project is humanitarian before we begin?
Uh, Again, the humanitarian project is a really a big spectrum of things. Again, what you understand for humanitarian. If humanitarian, the understanding of humanitarian is just to give money away, that's not humanitarian. That's charity, right? Humanitarian is when you help another fellow human, right? So the understanding of humanitarian, because I have those questions, is I was the same. It's no shame saying it, but they say no. You can build, like I said again, you can build houses, you can build hospitals, and you have to create an income because you have to maintain those projects for a long time. If you just give them away, who's gonna sustain and maintain those projects for the long run? You cannot just keep giving money, you know. Um, there is projects that you're gonna show. Obviously, when you designate whatever amount you want for humanitarian, and you can say, well, I have this project. It enters in the humanitarian category. They're gonna tell you yes, and that's obviously when you go to the branch or the facility where you're gonna exchange the currency. That's why you have a wealth management. That's why you can have a lawyer, you can have an attorney to help you guide you through this. I mean, it's a really complicated um, to put a tag or a name on what is humanitarian and what is not. So if you're helping another human, that's humanitarian. But how you help them, that's the difference, right? So there's, believe me, there's hundreds and hundreds of projects, humanitarian projects in America, that at some point you run out of option that can give you the list and tell you what to do. You don't have to give me nothing. Just go ahead and do it there. I mean, there are many humanitarian projects in America, and granted, not we don't know all of them, but I have a list of at least over 100 projects, and they need a lot of money. And there's many people invested into it because they want it, you know. So there's many funds coming into the major share bondholders that they need to invest it into humanitarians. So believe me when I tell you the amount of money is just crazy, but they have to invest it. So
All right. Last question then.
mhm,
Because I know we've been going a long time.
it's
So
okay.
a couple goes in to redeem. Do each of them, are they able to open individual accounts for themselves for the QFS?
Absolutely. It's up to them. If they say, well, we're gonna do a 50-50 split of what we have, that's it. Every one of them, each one of them get their own account, and that's it. Simple. The long as both of them are agree, or not in the middle of divorce, because then there will be a conflict of interest, obviously. But if both of them agree, and when they sign the contract, they say, yeah, 50% is for her, 50% is for me, and that's it. Every one of them get their own account.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and answering all these questions. And I know
No
that
problem.
you're up to a date and I know how late it is there. So I just really, really appreciate you coming on and giving all your time and answering to the best of your ability. It was just wonderful. I appreciate it.
No problem. And again, even if I have the NDA, obviously I won't be able to speak as freely as today, but whatever kind of intel I can give to you and you can share to your the group here, I mean, feel free to do it. And if I get more information when you guys will be able to actually start the process for you, I have no conflict in there to share that. Whatever is in my hands to share with you guys, if there's no problem to you go ahead and communicate with them and tell them what's happening. And then after the fact, whatever you need, uh, not only you, the whole team here, the whole group. If there's any more questions, feel free to send it to Sabrina, and Sabrina will forward to me, and I will do my best to answer as quick as possible, for any question that you might have.
Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to end the chat then and the recording. Okay, guys?
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. No problem. Have a
Thank
good
you
day, all
so
of you.
much. Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank